Hey y'all, it's Brody, and today I'm here to discuss favorite authors with you. I was thinking about how I throw around the term favorite, like my favorite book, or my favorite author, or my favorite genre, or trope, or character type, or whatever. Really thinking about like who my favorite authors are, and I was gonna put together a top 10 favorite authors list, and I realized that I don't have 10 favorite authors according to my criteria of what a favorite author is. My criteria for a favorite author is an author that I have read 3 books from and enjoyed. So after combing through the books on my shelves, I realized I only have 8 of those. Rick Riordan, Kacen Callender, Stephen Graham Jones, Rebecca Roanhorse, R.L. Stine, Susan E., David Levithan, and Adam Silvera. In particular, the ones that stick out are Susan E. and David Levithan. Angel Fall, I've said before, is my favorite dystopian series, and it happens to be a trilogy, so that's 3 books that I have read and loved by that author. Another one that stuck out to me was David Levithan, because I have read a bunch of David Levithan books. I have loved many of them. I have hated many of them. So it's interesting to say that he's a favorite by my criteria. I have combed through my shelves again, and I have picked out 15 authors that I believe could be favorites of mine. So I'm going to run through those, and we're going to discuss a little bit about each one. Now, I once again want to say that the criteria for this is that you have published 3 books or have been included in anthologies and short story collections, at least 3 works that I can read that I enjoy. Off the bat, we're going to talk about Silvia Moreno Garcia. I read Mexican Gothic in 2020. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the horror. I have DNF'd temporarily Gods of Jade and Shadow, but we're planning on getting back to it. I just saw where another book was announced that's like a noir crime thriller, Untamed Shore, which has sharks. So I feel like I could vibe with Silvia Moreno Garcia's writing more than just Mexican Gothic. It's just that Gods of Jade and Shadow kind of put me off. But I plan on picking it back up this year. Next, we have Danielle Vega. I read The Merciless and Survived the Night by Danielle Vega and really enjoyed them. Young adult horror. Danielle Vega has written under a couple of different pen names. I really enjoy the gore in her books. I feel like just like going to the movie theater and like watching a new horror slasher film with your friends, and that's something that I really look for in horror. Moving on to another one, and this is another one that I consider my favorite book, one of my favorite books of all time, and that is The Serpent King by Jeff Zentner. I have also read Rain and Delilah's Midnight Matinee by Jeff Zentner and really enjoyed it. Jeff Zentner gets these small town vibes that I look for in YA contemporary correct. He gets the kind of isolated, the only place to hang out is in a Walmart parking lot vibes, and I really enjoy his Twitter presence. Also, he's like really attractive. Oops. Then we have Claire Kahn. I know that I read Let's Talk About Love and I adored it. And I know that there was another one that came out in 2019 or 2020 called If It Makes You Happy. I loved the romance in this book. I'm not a huge romance reader, but the romance in Let's Talk About Love, as well as the character development, was something that hit me really hard. I really enjoyed it. So I am curious to see what else Claire Kahn does. Like, then we have A.M. Macklemore, and I have read Wild Beauty and When the Moon Was Ours, and I really enjoyed both of them. I think I preferred When the Moon Was Ours to Wild Beauty. Unpopular opinion, but I think that might be true. It's the way that they can write a book and have the writing be so flowery, like, contributes to the atmosphere and the setting and the characters and everything. Like, it feels like reading a fairy tale, and I love that vibe. Then we have one that you might actually kind of be surprised to see on here, and that is Owl Going Back. Owl Going Back wrote Crota, which I read for the Indigathon, the first round of the Indigathon, and I loved. Horror, kind of SFF author, and I really like the way that he plays with tropes in this book specifically. Because it's a creature novel, so I like the way that he plays with the whole, like, cop is trying to save the day, but the cop can't do it because the cop's white. And I know that he has written an anthology short story collection I have on my TBR, and also a novel called Coyote Rage, which I believe is about a werewolf. Then we have one that is a total shot in the dark, because I have only read this author in one short story collection, but that short story convinced me that I will love this author's book, and that is Dhonielle Clayton. I read her short story, The House of Black Sapphires, in this anthology, Vampires Never Get Old, and the way that Dhonielle writes dresses. In maybe 20 pages, Dhonielle Clayton sucked me into this elegant classy, high fashion New Orleans vampire ball, and I'm just so excited now to read The Bells. Then we have Nina LaCour. I picked Everything Leads to You because it's my favorite of Nina LaCour stuff that I've read. I did not like The Disenchantments as much as I thought I would, so I can't in good faith call her a favorite author yet. But I believe that Nina LaCour can do it for me. I think maybe that was just a fluke, and we will like the rest of her stuff. Because, like, I love sapphic romance. That's a genre that I really seem to gravitate towards, is, like, sapphic literature in general. Then we have Joshua Whitehead. I've talked about Joshua Whitehead quite a bit on my channel, an OG Cree Two-Spirit author. I've read Johnny Appleseed and read Love Beyond Body, Space, and Time, which they have a short story in. They have also written a poetry collection called Full Metal and Digiquare that I want to read, and then curated a short story collection called Love After the End. So either one of those I'm going to read is up in the air, but I just know that Joshua Whitehead will make it onto my favorite author list. I just need to read the third book and cement that. We have Julie C. Dow, who wrote Forest of a Thousand Lanterns, which has my favorite villain of all time in it ever, Shifeng. And Julie C. Dow has written, from what I've gathered from Google, 2 more books in this series. There's a sequel and then a third book. And then has written the first book in another series, so there's some material to go on here. Julie C. Dow writes all of her characters with the amount of depth that she wrote Shifeng, and the amount of ambition and drive that she wrote Shifeng. I know that I will love her characters. And if you haven't gathered, just from like my channel, I'm not too much of a plot-driven person. I definitely focus more on characters. Libba Bray, who wrote Beauty Queens and Going Bovine, I loved both of them. Definitely want to dive more into Libba Bray's stuff. I feel like Libba Bray was one of those authors that everyone talked about in like the early days of BookTube before I joined, so I kind of missed out on the train, because I do remember reading this book and reading Going Bovine, which I don't have a copy of, but I loved the kind of satirical spookiness of the books. Like, they discuss serious topics, but they're handled in a very comical, kind of black humor way. So I have read Code Talker by Joseph Bruchac, and then fun fact, I didn't realize that one of the books that scared me the most as a kid, called The Skeleton Man, thinking about it still freaks me the fuck out, was written by Joseph Bruchac. So that's 2 right there. And The Skeleton Man has a sequel called The Return of the Skeleton Man. Also written a bunch of native horror, native children's lit, has a very extensive backlist. There's some action stuff on there. I'm sure that we can find something for book number 3 and make Joseph Bruchac a new installment and one of my favorite authors. Then we have Zoraida Cordova. I have read Labyrinth Lost, and then, like I said, The Vampires Never Get Old, which she actually edited with Natalie C. Parker. I will say that with Zoraida's writing, I love Zoraida's writing. I love Zoraida's humor. I love the way that Zoraida does character work, and I love the atmosphere building that Zoraida does. Zoraida has a ton of books, and they are all fantasy and then also romance under a pen name. So there's some options there. Then we have Brandy Colbert. I read The Revolution of Bertie Randolph, I want to say the week that it came out, and I loved it. And I just know that I will love everything that Brandy Colbert writes. So everything I've heard about Brandy Colbert, I just feel like I would love, as far as her books go. Like, there's a thriller about a ballerina. That's my aesthetic. And I also know that she's not only written YA, she's written adult and like middle grade. So there's a wide array of age ranges that I can read from her. And then also, like, Brandy Colbert just gets the prettiest fucking covers. Like, that doesn't contribute to me calling an author my favorite, because the cover art is something that's totally separate from the writing inside. But, like, Brandy Colbert's books, the covers, y'all, they're so good. Adam Caesar. I read Clown in a Cornfield in 2020. I really enjoyed it. And Adam Caesar has quite a few books in the backlist. A lot of them are indie published or self-published. And I believe that they're all horror. I'm pretty sure they're mainly slasher focused. Maybe, like, some satirical horror, some kind of meta playing with tropes. But as I said earlier in the video, I have been getting more into horror. I have been embracing my love of horror more on my channel, and that's something I really want to dive more into in 2021. So I look forward to checking out more of Caesar's books. But, alright, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe and hit the bell and all that good shit while you're down there, because we're gonna pretend like hitting the bell actually gives you notifications every time I upload. Then also answer the comment question of the day. 2-parter comment question. Who is your favorite author? Pause while you answer that. Now, who is your favorite author based on my criteria? An author that you have read at least 3 published works from and loved. I don't know, I'm curious to see if there's any difference between answer A and answer B. But if you don't want to answer, you don't have the time, you don't have the spoons, whatever your reason is, you can let me know you made it all the way until the end of the video by leaving me an emoji, preferably a yellow heart. Or, if you're on a computer desktop, leave me a smiley face emoticon. My social medias will be linked downstairs for you to go check out, so make sure you go do that. Follow me around the internet, my Instagram, my Goodreads, and my Twitter, as well as places to support me further outside of YouTube if you so choose, like my PayPal, my coffee, or my Amazon wishlist if you want to buy me a book. Alright, I hope you have a wonderful, whatever it is, wherever you are. I will see you next time with another video. Thank you for watching. Okay, cool. Bye. It's like 2 a.m. and I have to get up for work. So I have to go to bed now.